Here we go. Right, Monday Night Live 65. Hello for about the third time. Hello all. Welcome. We've got YouTube happening. We've got Facebook happening. It's all happening, and all I managed to do was cock up the microphone. But anyway, here I am. We're all here. Welcome everyone. I'm just starting to get these Facebook comments up now. We've got Greg and Maverick and Daryl and Grotty Gold here. Ian's here on Facebook as well. Not on Facebook, on the YouTube. Donnie's here and Warren and Narelle. Cody's here. G'day Cody. Andrea, James, Nick. Lots and lots of people here. So even though I managed to get YouTube up and running, I still mucked up the start with the lack of sound, but we made it in the end. So welcome guys. So tonight we're going to talk about all things sluicing. Lots of opportunities to ask questions. We've got some giveaways tonight. Share the live stream. We've got the mini sluices from Goldrat. Let me get a different coloured one so it's a bit easier to see. The mini one. We've got Paydirt, Golden Sperm Mining, Paydirt. So I've got three of those, blue, green, black, all the same Paydirt. So share the live stream. If you're on YouTube, you still need to share the live stream. We are going to, I think, in time switch this across to YouTube. Everything seems to work a little better, so we'll probably do that. So let's start right at the beginning, okay? Sluicing. A lot of people will find more gold sluicing than what they do detecting. It still takes exactly the same amount of work, but sluicing is a viable option for a lot of people, okay? Now if you've got questions guys, I'm going to try and pick them up as I go. Alan got the snakebite bandages, well done mate. I hope you don't ever need to use them. So what we're going to do is we'll start right back at the beginning, and really for all sluicing, right, this is probably your most important tool, the pan, okay? The gold pan is the most important tool. You need it for sampling because there's no point setting up a sluice if there's no gold there. The second thing you need it for is cleanup, and we'll get to that a little bit more towards the end. So what is a sluice? A sluice is basically a box with some sort of riffling, or sometimes right back in the beginning without riffling, that allows the heavy gold to separate out of the sand and gravel that it's in. It allows the gold to settle to the bottom, sit on the bottom, and allow the lighter material to go off the top. So basically that's a sluice. So really they started off something like this. Timber box normally had timber riffles running across it. Now a riffle is just a board that goes across the sluice, or an obstruction across the sluice to allow a low pressure zone, okay? And that's how these guys work. They shoveled into that sluice, the gold separated out, and happy days. So, but still at the end of this, they would be on the pan cleaning it up. So that is sort of where sluicing sort of started, and it obviously things have advanced dramatically since then. We've got just going to put up this is a like a dry stream from here in Brisbane that is quite very cool, and this is the sort of riffling you're looking for in the in your creek bottom, okay? And that acts as a natural riffle to catch the gold. So lots of people are asking about angles of sluices, and we're going to get to that. So basically we've got an idea of what a sluice is, okay? So there's a lot of, from the old style sluices, right, you actually go into a range of sluices that are like this, okay? Whereas they're the riffles I was talking about before, the gold riffles across the top, and underneath that riffle is normally some expanded mesh, some miner's moss, and V-rib. Now the V-rib and the miner's moss and the extended mesh is really designed to catch the gold. So that's designed to catch the gold. So and that sort of system sits in the bottom. That's a keen sluice. You know, a lot of people use them. I do think that this style of sluice is the old style of sluice. So it works on a low pressure system. As the low pressure system, as you go down the sluice, the material rolls this way, as opposed to Dream Mat. And here's a good example of Dream Mat, where the material actually goes that way in the sluice rather than down the sluice. So much more efficient, much more modern technology. Dream Mat rules the roost at this point in time. Someone will bring out something in the future that will catch gold much better. So at the moment, that's the king of them, Dream Mat. Now, where's my notes here? So I've also noticed a lot of questions on Facebook about what, let's just clear that for the moment, but what Dream Mat's available in and what it's used for. So we're going to actually, there's actually 3 different profiles of Dream Mat, and we're going to go into detail on them a lot later. So people are asking there what you use different mats for, but we're going to get into that a bit later, sort of thing. So sluices have started. This sort of thing, the first ever push box. I'll show you a push box later. Then they go through this sort of reincarnation, then into the more modern Dream Mat style of things, and they can get, like, all that is on the bottom of that plant there is a sluice. It's just exactly the same as a little 6-inch sluice that you use in the river. So that's all they are. It's just a sluice designed to catch gold. That's all it is. So no matter how big or small they are, whether they're that big or that big, they work exactly the same way. So people think, well, that's a big thing, but it's not really that much more complicated. So that's sort of about sizes. So I'll just get some questions here while we're going. Greg asked, if I move to YouTube only, you're going to have to do something with the randomizer. I am, but I've found this cunning thing. There's a YouTube random generator that picks comments. I don't know how to work it quite yet, but that's beside the point. So Lauren's trying at YouTube, while to get used to trying to figure out how to like and share and what have you. Yes. So to share it, you just hit the share button below, and you can share it to Facebook. You can share it to what other things can you share it to? You can share it to Facebook or Twitter or Tumblr. I don't even know what these things are, so I hope you do. Blogger, all the rest of it. So there's a stack of it there. Anyway, so Aussie Prospector just asked about the gold cube. Well, let me just see if I can track down a picture of the gold cube. So the gold cube is basically just a stacked, it's just a stacked sluice. So let me just save that, call it GC, and then we'll add it here. So for those that don't know, very, very shortly there is going to be a picture of a gold cube on the screen here. Let's just push that across. So that's the gold cube, and basically it's exactly the same as a normal sluice, except they've jammed it together and you've actually got 3 layers of sluice there. They actually use a mat that sort of size, so you know, so you can put you can go away from the normal mats that come with the gold cube, and you can just put dream mat in them. So so that's another variation of a sluice. It's a powered sluice, so you need to pump water. Obviously you can't throw that in a creek like you can with a river sluice, but you can certainly if you're pumping water, the gold cube, and I don't see a lot of advantages to the gold cube. Like, it's square, it's easy to fit in. Like, I see that as an advantage, but I don't see a whole stack of advantages with the gold cube over anything else. People might tell me different, and that's okay. I'm not sensitive. So, but I don't see a whole stack of advantage to the gold school, the gold cube. So, right. So, what other sort of things? Yeah. See. Okay. So when we talk about classifying, and we're sort of jumping all over the place here a little bit. So the gold cube does need to be you need to classify the material. You really need to classify the material. So this, okay, we'll get into these mats now. So this is micro mat, very, very small, really used as a cleanup. It's also used in the gold cube. That's a mat designed for the gold cube. You can cut that, of course, and put that in. This is mini mat, right? It's about twice the size, really hard to see because of the colour and everything of the backdrop there. And really you need to classify that down as well. This micro mat needs to be classified a lot finer than what the standard one does. The bigger version of Dream Mat, which is this stuff here, which probably won't show up real well, which is this here. This is an 8-inch recirculating unit. It really, you don't need to classify it down at all. I actually just feed that. Let me see if I can get a better, no, it's a terrible picture. You can sort of see that in the white there. You really don't need to classify. I don't classify that down at all. I watch the sluice very, very closely to make sure it's not clogging up, but that heavier mat, you don't need to classify at all. So out in the bush, I much prefer to not classify and use the heavier mat, the bigger mat, and it varies, sort of thing. So okay, so they're the 3 different types of mat. Dustin from Gold Rat, who does Dream Mat here, hasn't really got this one up and running just yet, I don't believe. So it's available and I can get it for you, and I think Dustin's got some of it there, but really it's not quite, you know, it's not commonly known, that one there. So I think that's right. I don't think Dustin's even got it on his web page. So that's a great little cleanup, or if you've got the gold cube, like, that's a great way to go to Dream Mat. So so yeah. Right, okay, so let me get some questions here. So Josh is here and Richard's here. There's a... Right, okay. One asks that, tell us the telltale signs whether your sluice is set up correctly, water flow angle and what have you. So, to set up a sluice properly, and I'm talking about any sort of sluice really, whether it's got riffles or whether it's Dream Mat. I suggest Dream Mat's very forgiving, so I suggest people try to go to Dream Mat, but it doesn't really matter. So what happens when you overfeed a sluice is everything just clogs up. Okay, you'll see in Dream Mat, you'll see you'll lose the circular motion, the exchanging of materials in the cells, and you will end up with just a section or the whole sluice full of gravel, if you like. With you get a similar sort of thing with a sluice with riffles running across the sluice, but what happens there is the material pardon me, the material behind the riffle should be exchanging material light for heavy as well. So you've got to watch your sluice all the time. Now, there's a function of angle versus water flow. Okay, the less water flow you've got, the steeper the angle you run it on, and vice versa. If you've got a lot of water flow, you can run your sluice a lot flatter. Okay, so depending on what sluice you're running, and if we talk just about Dream Mat, for instance, you really, once you've stopped feeding and all the material clears from the mat, you really only want to see really not much more than just the individual cells full. So just the little circles full. You will have more material than that floating around the place, but that's what you're looking for. You're looking for, like, depending on the size of the mat, you're looking for 3 white stripes of bubbles down the mat if you're running an 8-inch, and that gives you a good idea that you've got enough water flow running for the machine. So, and it's a matter of playing with it until your mat's clearing out or your sluice is clearing out, and it's a matter of testing it, stopping, testing, making sure you haven't got, like I run my Dream Mat, I pull my Dream Mat out and clean it the moment I see any sort of gold halfway down the sluice. That's my buffer. The bottom half of the sluice is my buffer. So, and what happens is when you overload that sluice, the riffles or the cells in the Dream Mat fill up, and therefore they lose all the power to do their job to catch gold, and so the gold just flows out the end of the sluice. It just runs over the top of the gravel and out the end. So that's what happens if you overrun your sluice. So the proper angle really for Dream Mat and most sluices is to start at 9 degrees. Yeah, absolutely. So right, let me see if we can get Graham's. I'll pick up my coffee cup. Don't drink it. It's a common, yeah. Lynn asked a question, do you lose, so this is miner's moss, this is what Lynn's talking about, do you lose gold in miner's moss? You lose gold with any system, right? Bottom line, it doesn't matter what system, you will lose some gold in any material. However, miner's moss, V-rib, all those sort of things. We played, I didn't load it up tonight to play it, but we played a video of a stack of mats combined together to see which one, it was a test to see which one lost the most gold, and all the other mats lost gold, and Dream Mat did lose a little bit, but very, very little. It was the best performing mat by far. So miner's moss will lose material, no doubt about it. If you're using miner's moss, you're not capturing everything you can. That's why I suggest a Dream Mat. So your angle is, the angle, Steve's got it here, 1 degree for every foot on angle. Thanks, guys. And Dustin's confirmed that. Anthony, so to set up a gold cube, and I am no expert on gold cube, but to set up a gold cube, I believe, sorry, hang on a tick here. I believe that the angles are all preset. What you've got to do is get the whole gold cube square. It's got to be square that direction, and it's got to be square that direction. So that's the important thing with the gold cube. You've got to get it perfectly level. Then the angles on each of the levels is all preset. And like, seriously guys, I'm not suggesting you go out and buy a gold cube. I actually think they're not the greatest weapon in the world, sort of thing. So Jonathan, James, how you going? Scotty asked, Dream Mat plus classifying mesh from gold works a treat. Now, let's talk about classifying meshes. I think I have a photo here. I do. So, if you're looking to classify your material before you put it through the sluice, you can buy one of these units. That's just a 10-inch river sluice, like this big sluice I had here before. Okay. You can buy this mesh panel that actually sits in the sluice, right? And it filters out all your oversize, okay? So your rocks will sit up on that tray, wherever it is, on it is, sit up on that mesh tray, and you can push them up onto the aluminium plate and off the edges. So it works really well. It works beautifully with clay, because what it does is it holds the clay down the bottom here and allows the water to wash the clay. So I get better recovery with the washed clay down there. So just on YouTube we've got David here talking about underflow sluice boxes, and we've got fluid bed concentrators. We've got lots of different types of sluices. Now there's stacks of different sluices, drop riffles and all this sort of thing. All I know is at this point in time, commercially available Dream Mat is the king of the bunch. All these things, there's a million things being developed all the time. Someone's got a better idea, right? But currently, this stuff is the go. And it could be the go for the next 15 minutes, or it could be the go for the next 15 years before they work out another way to skin the cat, if you like. Right, okay, so let's just have a bit of a recap here. I'm Ben from Gold Diggers. We do this every Monday night. We're talking about sluices, if you're late coming. We've got 3 of these Paydirt and little mini sluices to give away tonight. We're going to give away 1 on YouTube, and we're going to give away 2 on Facebook. Shortly it will swap around where YouTube gets the more prizes than the Facebook. So if you've got any questions, throw them in the comments. I'm only about 85 behind at the moment, so bear with me. I think I'm all up to speed on YouTube. So we've got the Young Guns here, all the guys from Young Guns, C&K Metal Detecting, Jared, Kylie, breaking clay. Greg uses his Ford classifying tray to break the clay. Aussie Prospector asks, is there a favourite length in Dream Mat? They're moulded mats, so they're at a set length, whether it be, I think they're 920-ish for the bigger mats. Yeah, and really, they're not actually, I find I'm only using the top half of the mat. I very, very rarely see gold in the bottom half of the mat. It's always in the top half. So you're pretty comfortable with the length. It is. So, yeah. So, right. Okay, so, so we're talking about, let me get rid of this. I begin to dislike that thing across the bottom. So, let's talk about push-in boxes. So let's talk about what this fella here is doing, right? This fella here, right, there's a lot of old methods to use it, and they all use sluices sort of thing. This fella here is shoveled in to the top of this box, then he's scooping water out of the river, washing the gravel down a sluice box, and he's got a funny contraption down here, which I think is some sort of sluice as well, and then it goes further into a proper sluice. So that is how they used to do it back when pumps weren't readily available. They used to shovel in, get water to it somehow or other, whether they ran a bank around the edge of it to bring water to it or what they did, but quite often they were scooping water in. So if we were to have a look at the modern day version of that, this is a push-in box, right? So exactly the same principle. Couple of shovel loads of material into the top of the push-in box, into the right in the top there. Then a couple of bucket loads of water into the top, down the sluice, overside, push overside off the classifying tray. Away you go again. Couple of shovels, couple of buckets, wash it out, clear the oversize, and that's basically, these two things are very, very similar. This is just the old school version, and this is the sexy new version. So that's a push-in box. That's exactly what that old fella was doing, but this one's catching more gold than what the old fella was doing. So yeah, lots of people are using those Ford classifying trays. That's got a Ford classifying tray on it as well, exactly the same as what the other classifiers are. So okay, so right, we've got it's Matt, it's not available for the 6-inch little bushwalker sluice at this stage. However, there is a 6-inch high banker that Dustin's just bought out that I'm going to do a full demo on one day this week. It'll be a live stream we put in on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So so the advantage of this push-in box is in states where you can't use a battery pump, right? This is a perfect situation, okay? Because it's actually completely legal in every state, sort of thing. You notice the holes are drilled at the top here, right? You can actually put a spray bar and a pump on it if you wanted to. So yeah, so you can just put the spray bar on it and run a pump to it. So yeah. So Tom Boston, what's the best way? I want to get some of these questions because I'm getting further behind these questions. But what's the best way to separate black sands out of fine gold? Was the question, I think. Oh, Tom Boston, I remember you. I don't know whether I should answer you. Tom Boston is the guy with the chili who hurt me with the chili. I believe it's the same Tom Boston. I'm flat out answering the question. But anyway, so this is micromat's a fantastic way to pull black sand out of gold. You will probably get sort of 60 to 75% of the black sand out of it with this. There is blue bowls, which are basically, let me go and find a photo of a blue bowl, and spiral wheels. Let me just get that up there. I should have. So a blue bowl is, and I can't just bring one up here quickly. I'll bring up the spiral bowl instead. So a blue bowl and a spiral concentrator are the best ways. But the spiral concentrators are quite expensive. The gold wheel I should be searching for. And there's a stack of different ones on the market, and I think we're going to be I can't find photos of either of them. So anyway, there's one there. So I believe we're going to be stocking the Keen ones at some stage in the next little while, and they both do a blue bowl and a spiral concentrator. So this is a spiral concentrator. This is a gold wheel spiral concentrator, and basically what you're doing there is you're putting the material in the bottom of that concentrator. The gold works its way up to the center against the flow of the water and drops through the center there. So so that's the best way to clean up your black sand and concentrator. So right, so David's here. I'm just going to go through some of these questions here. The push-in box is fantastic. People are commenting on the push-in box. I don't know why we don't sell more of them, because they are phenomenal. So I love that, but we just don't sell a lot of them. So the other thing is, and Steve just mentioned, is a Miller table. A Miller table is basically just a flat table with water running on it, and you can adjust the water flow so it blows the black sand off and leaves the gold. So right. Let me just, I'm just going to scroll to the end. Yeah, so Damon here asks, is there any good pumps that run with 12 volt or just petrol run? So that's dictated a little bit by your state laws, Damon. The petrol pumps are fine in Victoria. New South Wales and Queensland, for instance, I think they're I think petrol pumps are fine in WA as well. Not too much water over there, so that's an issue. But New South Wales is much more stricter, and I would be looking in New South Wales for a push-in box. People are using bilge pumps, and they seem to be getting away with it. Up here in Queensland, it seems that a recirculating sluice with a battery powered bilge pump is fine. We've had rangers come past us using that, and it's fantastic. So right, so that yeah, but bilge pumps you can run. So for instance, let me show you my setup. Okay, this is exactly my setup here. Okay, obviously it's got a it's got a pump and a hose and what have you with it. So this starts out life. Let me grab this here. Bang. This starts out life as one of these 8-inch modular sluice. Reason it's modular, it's got 2 bolts here. You can undo the header box. You can take that top section off, right? The flare, I should say. Let me put that down so it doesn't fall over. Then what you can do is you can put the header box on it, which flattens the water flow out and puts and gives you a nice even water flow. The hose hooks onto the back of it. Okay. It then comes with legs, right? So you can get set exactly the same, exactly the right height. I'm having a lot of success with that. I run that for about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours in dry country, completely dry country that's never seen a sluice before, with about 40 litres of water. So I've actually just recently put about 6 months ago, I put a 160 litre bladder in the back of my Triton, and that feeds this, and I can get 2 or 3 days out of that quite comfortably, just for sluicing water. The other advantage is I've got a fitting on it so I can backfill it, so if I'm at a dam I can go and refill that bladder. So it's yet to go in the new truck, but it will at some stage. So so that is exactly the unit I use, and it can handle a lot more than I can shovel, and I'm shoveling straight into that. No classification, no nothing. I just shovel straight into that. So a lot of people ask me why I don't use, and I think I saw someone here a minute ago, why I don't use a high banker. So I don't use a high banker, and a high banker for those that don't know, is, let me get this one here, is this unit here. So basically, the water goes in the top, you shovel in the top, it breaks a lot of clay off, the fine material falls through there onto the sluice and out it goes. So basically the same concept with a hopper on top. The reason I don't use a high banker, right, because you end up losing a lot of water off the end here. So when I'm going into dry country and I'm carting water to it, okay, I find that I'm losing too much water off the end of the classifying tray, and so therefore this unit here, it's a completely enclosed unit. So the water goes in there, runs off the end, I catch it in a bucket, and which the pump sits in and feeds it back through. So I virtually lose no water. So that's the big advantage of that unit there I've got. So Thomas just mentioned all mechanical devices in New South Wales are banned. That's why I think that I'm surprised we don't sell more of these push-in boxes. I think the push-in box is about $6.50, something like that. It's on our website there. But I'm surprised we don't sell more of these. We should be selling heaps and heaps of these to New South Wales, and for some reason we don't sell a lot of them. So back to that pump question. An 8-inch sluice. So my unit that I use out in the bush, I use a 3,000 gallon an hour pump with that unit there. So you can use a lot of water. That's why they're good at classifying. So yeah. So most of these units we do, like if you come in with a specific setup in mind, we can size the pump for you. We can do all that sort of stuff for you. So it's not a big deal. Right, so, okay. Yeah, Thomas, I believe hand operated pumps are fine. So if you've got no battery, if you've got no mechanical power, so whether it be battery or so I believe hand operated pumps are fine. But yeah. Matt just asked where I got the bladder from. I just bought it off eBay. There's a stack of them there. I don't think it was that dear, $130 or something or other. It's it hasn't got a hole in it yet. So, and I'm not the the smartest, the kindest bloke to stuff. So, so yes. Yeah, we've lots of people talking about all the different regulations. You need to check all the state regulations. Unfortunately, it's all state based, so you need to you need to actually check your local state regulations. There's a fitting. So who was that there? Someone just mentioned Scott talks about a Yabby pump. So there's a fitting you can get for a Yabby pump, and I think they call it, you buy it from the chandlery shops, and it's designed as a bilge pump. So the idea is it's a little plastic fitting that goes on the end of your Yabby pump, and the idea is when you're out fishing and your tinny starts to sink, you can get on the Yabby pump and pump it out. And basically that fitting you clip on the bottom is a one-way valve. So I have seen people use a Yabby pump as a mechanical device, not as a mechanical device, as a hand-powered device to run small, like 6-inch. Yeah, you probably couldn't get quite enough water to flow for an 8-inch, but smaller sluices you can do that sort of thing. So. Richard there, Richard, Alicia, Kyle, Paul, Dale, lots of people here. Matty asks, how did I get 70 comments behind again? Matty asks, what battery do you use? I actually just use a 100 amp hour deep cycle battery, and I can get hours and hours and hours out of that with that 3,000 gallon bilge pump. Really, I can get a weekend. Obviously, I'm not running it 24 hours a day. I'm digging, I'm digging, I'm taking a break, and I turn it off, and then I turn it back on, and maybe I'll get a few buckets from somewhere to test something. It's off during that. So yeah, I normally get a whole weekend out of that 100 amp hour battery, but I do, if I'm in a sunny spot, I do put I've got a little solar panel there. I think it's a 160 amp hour little blanket thing. Yes, so I had all these notes and this plan of how this that it was going to work tonight, and it hasn't. So for those, Dan just asked what size sluice that is. That's an 8-inch sluice. So that's an 8-inch sluice with a header box, legs, pump. Away you go. So I love that. I reckon that's the greatest thing, and I've had a whole stack of success with it running into dry country, the old ancient riverbeds. That's the trick to it, sort of thing. So, right, right. Like, I'm just going through some comments here. Phil's here, Jamie's here, Thomas. Victor, g'day Victor, how you going, mate? You could, Dylan just says use a vacuum cleaner end on your Yabby pump. Yes, you can. I have got some fittings there, and Crazy Crevicer is bringing out a whole lot of stuff, hopefully in the next couple of months. And he'll have all sorts of clever stuff to go on the Yabby pump. So. Josh asked where you can get those one-way valves. Those one-way valves are, like, I think I got mine, which I've since lost. I don't know where it is. I think I bought that from Whitworth's or one of the boat Chandlerley places. It was like $17, so it was really good. So, right, let me just scroll all the way to the bottom. Yeah. So, so guys, that setup behind me there, if people are asking how much that's worth, that's about $700 with the pump, the hose, everything you see there, right? And a big bag of pay dirt, bigger than these ones. I think it's about $700. So, and that's a 3,000 gallon pump, so that's a decent sized pump. Yeah. So, yeah. Yeah, right, so the 8-inch sluice doesn't need to be classified. I use a classifying mesh, particularly if I've got clay or I've got a lot of flat, slaty sort of rock that I'm putting through it. It makes it very easy to clean it out. And the flat, slaty sort of bedrock that you occasionally get, well, you get a lot, that can interrupt the cells in the dream mat, so I try and keep that clear. So yeah. Yeah, Jason asked, you lose much water out of the push-in box. So the idea of this push-in box, right, is the water, all of the water goes out the end, okay? So you could set it up recirculating if you had a pump, or a tub at the end that you could bucket out of. So it's a little bit more complicated to set up as a recirculating system compared to that fella there, because then you've got to adjust heights and get the bucket under, and it's got the shorter legs on it. So yes, so so people are talking about a power hub here. Adam's talking about a power hub. So I've had a power hub, and it quite quickly, I didn't find it anywhere near as reliable as a deep cycle battery. I didn't find it anywhere near as good as a deep cycle battery. Maybe it was the brand I bought. But I've got my deep cycle battery in one of those. You can go to some of these electronic places in a battery box that's got it's got cigarette lighter, USBs, Anderson plugs. It's got a solar input thing, but you just put the whole battery inside the box, and it's got a handle that breaks off for the first time you use it. So the handle's bloody useless, but I like the box. So I've actually got a bit of rope tied around mine now, and I carry it with a bit of rope. So, yeah. So, you know, some of those battery packs, you got to send them back to get repacked if they're flat, and you leave them flat, and you know, I didn't like that. So, right. Why can't you certain service by a mechanical man? It doesn't destroy the environment or cause pollution. So what's the issue? Does not make sense. Once again, being controlled by the greenies. Yes. So where that comes from is people running a 2-inch petrol pump, right, in a sensitive environmental stream and silting up a kilometre down the stream. Okay, so that's where that legislation comes from. Okay, compared to a flood, we do no impact at all, even with a 2-inch pump, right? But I can sort of see it, why they stopped it. That's why I think in Queensland we seem to get away with using recirculating systems, because we're not touching the environment any more than we're prospecting or panning or anything like that. So I think that's why we get away with the recirculating units much more easily. So yeah. Greg talks about lithium batteries. Yeah, I'm not sold on lithiums yet. I've heard some stuff go right, so yeah, and like that, all that legislation's a bit stupid, because seriously, I've seen boulders the size of cars rolling down some of these streams in floods. What am I going to do with that thing? Like, I'm not going to have any social impact on the red back end frog or whatever it is that, you know, like that boulder the size of a car is going to have more impact on that frog than me. So anyway, yeah, that's just me. So how do you set it up, right? Standard river sluice. Let's look at these standard river sluices right here. This is your standard river sluice setup. Okay, this is standard river sluice. Nothing terribly exciting about them. Whether you're setting them up in a creek. Okay, you need a creek with running water for these guys. So it's very, very simple to set up. Okay, so you find an area where it's got some fall. Normally I like a rocky ledge or a little waterfall or something like that. Put the sluice up there, pack rocks around it to make sure it's very, very secure. So you don't want it to move. You want it level left to right and up and down. And you run, certainly Dream Mat, you run these in about 9 degrees, okay? So, and you run a little bit of material through it and have a look at what the sluice is doing. If you go into a store, right, or you watch some of the other sluicing videos that I've done, go into a prospecting store and buy a Dream Mat, if you're not going to buy it off me, that is. And they will tell you how to set it up properly. If you walk into my store, I've got a 6-inch recirculating running here in the store. I've got an 8-inch running in the store. I can show you exactly what the mat needs to look like to run right. And that's what you're looking for. So you might have less water and you've got to run it a little bit steeper. You've got more water, you might have to run it a little bit flatter. So certainly feed the sluice fairly slowly until you make sure it's clearing out very, very quickly. And certainly if you're not running a classifier, or you're running some of the smaller mats, right, the smaller Dream mat profiles, right, you need to classify that material down. So, and I am constantly, with my 8-inch, even though I don't need to classify it, I am constantly watching it for rocks that are getting caught up in the mat, and I'm pushing them down. So, so that's the most important thing. Watch what your mat's doing. If you're not watching what your mat's doing, you're going to end up losing gold. So, and basically that's it. Okay, and then you sort of come full circle, and you have to clean it up with a gold pan. Okay. Now, there's no point in doing any of this, right, unless you've found an area that's red hot with a gold pan. The gold pan is your best prospecting tool by a country mile, okay? If you haven't bought a sluice yet and you don't own a gold pan, go and buy a gold pan first. Forget about the sluice until you can find an area where you've got some gold. A lot of people go out and buy a sluice and then think, oh, right, you know, you need a gold pan to identify an area that's great. So it's very, very important. Very important. The sluices are vitally important. Right. So apparently we're all mugs, buying detectors and sluices and what have you. Mother's Day, last Sunday, family out in the bush going for a bushwalk. I think they left Mum at home to give her a spell, but anyway, daughter kicks over a rock. What is it? 20 ounces. So apparently we're all mugs for spending money on detectors and sluices and what have you. So what an incredible find. Of course, it's Victoria, where you can, where if you're not careful, you'll trip over nuggets this size. So just be careful, the Victorians down there. I don't want anyone hurting themselves. So, but yeah, what a fantastic find on Mother's Day. So yeah, yeah. Michael's here from Florida. G'day, Michael. How are you? Was found at Bendigo. Yeah, 35 grand. I'm worried about you Victorians tripping over these nuggets. They're lying around on the ground. So yes. So I've just noticed a question here that is kicking around. Jason's talking about it. So I don't think I've got a picture of it here. No, I don't. So how I run my sluice, okay? So I've got, so this unit here, okay? So at the end of that bucket, at the end of that bucket, at the end of that sluice, right? I have that sluice set up so a 20 litre bucket slides under the end of it, right? So I've got a 20 litre bucket under the end of it, and that's designed to catch all of my material that's coming off the sluice, okay? So it catches water, it catches the gravel that's coming off the end, okay? Now I don't put the pump in that 20 litre bucket. So that 20 litre bucket then sits inside a tub. It's just one of those soft-sided tubs from Bunnings. It's about that size. They're $4 or something, other $4.50. And what happens is the gravel stays in the bucket, the water overflows into this tub, and the pump sits in the tub. Okay. Then I wait until the bucket is full of tailings. I drain the water off it, and I tip the tailings back out into the hole I'm refilling, or I tip the tailings out. Okay, so what that does is it preserves as much water as I possibly can. It protects the pump from anything that's going to hurt it. So silt, normally these bilge pumps are designed to have small particles going through it. So silt isn't going to worry your bilge pump. Okay, so it protects my pump, right? It keeps the water as clean as I possibly can, right? Without having any material that's going to damage the pump. So that's how I suggest people run their, if they're using a recirculating unit, that's how I suggest people run it. And let's talk about buckets, okay? Yeah. And I'm carrying on a bit here, but buckets, okay? There are thousands of buckets sitting around the place, mostly from commercial warehouses, industrial sites, and they are available very, very, very cheap. We don't need a perfectly clean bucket, as long as it hasn't had oil in it or anything oily, because the oil will make the gold float, of course. But so my suggestion is just keep your eyes peeled. You can go on Gumtree in any capital city or any major city and pick up a 10-litre bucket for $3 or $4, and you can, or a 20-litre bucket for $3 or $4, and you can go and get 100 of them if you want. So, you know, they're around. So, right. So, okay. Okay, so Coral's here, Steve, James, Dean. Okay, guys. Right, okay, so I tend to I've carried on a bit tonight. I've only covered about a quarter of what I've got here on my notes, but that's okay. It's not a race. We got a giant show last night. Next week, giant of a show. It's going to be very, very exciting. I'm actually looking forward to this. So there's some anniversaries next week, or some rough anniversaries. So Captain Thunderbolt and Ben Hall. So next week's going to be Bush Ranger Central. We're going to have a look at both Ben Hall and Thunderbolt, so that'll be a cracking show. I'll tell you why it was why I've picked next week to do that. It's certainly the anniversary, so that is going to be a cracking show. We're going to learn a little bit about Ben and Thunderbolt. Yes, so right now we better draw the prize. So you've got precisely you've got a minute before I draw these 3 prizes tonight. 3 of them green, that's obviously why you can't see it in the backdrop. Paydirt and green, blue and black Paydirts. So we're going to, now I can't use my mouse because I've got mini sluices and Paydirt all over it. So yeah, so you've only got a minute left to share it. Yeah. So right. So I've got YouTube random generator here. The randomizer. I'm going to continue to call it to the randomizer. So I've let that go. Right. So YouTube is closed now for the competition. So congratulations, Kylie Rook. Kylie, can you contact me by messenger or something or other, and I'll send you out a mini sluice, and it'll go out tomorrow. So I'm just setting this up here now with the randomizer on Facebook. It all gets a bit much. All these screens going on, I'm surrounded. So anyone that's been into the shop just realises it's mental. Anyway, so righto, I'm closing this off now. I'm running the randomizer. So for the 2 Facebook winners, and Gary, where's Gary from? Gary is from no idea. But Gary Hubble, I'll contact you straight after the show, mate. And Channa Silk. Channa Silk, congratulations. Yes, you've won one as well. So congratulations to both of you guys. Yeah. So yes, and Mark is right. I do need someone behind the scenes to help out, but you know, that's how it goes. I try and do all this by myself, keep the cost down, keep the and I think I suspect you guys like my lack of professionalism sometimes. So one final thing, someone asked about Mystery Creek, the lease I was looking at. It has turned into a nightmare. I'm not pursuing that particular one any further because it just doesn't work. Logistically, there's councils involved and water boards and oh my god. Anyway, so Mystery Creek is dead. Mystery Creek was this place here. Let me just see if I can. Mystery Creek was the coolest place and very, very rich with very rich with gold. I thought I could do something really, really cool with Mystery Creek, but Mystery Creek is, I don't think I've actually got any pictures of it that I can just put my hands on quickly, but it was crystal clear, a spectacular spot. I just loved Mystery Creek. This is Mystery Creek here. It was beautiful. Let me get rid of me. That would be better. That's Mystery Creek there. It was just beautiful. I love Mystery Creek, and yeah, but it is hugely rich with it's hugely rich with gold, but it's just too hard at the moment. And yeah, someone said it's turned into Misery Creek. You're right, Trevor. It has turned into Misery Creek. I counted it up, and I think there was about 6 different council and government authorities I had to deal with, and I was like pulling my hair out, and you know. Anyway, that's yeah, no Crocs there. No, it's only an hour from Brisbane, an hour and a half from Brisbane. That's as much information as I'll give you on the place. But yeah, it is just beautiful. So. And that water, it looks a bit scungy there, but it's crystal clear and fish and beautiful. So, righto. Thanks very much, guys. Tune in next week for Thunderbolt and more Ben Hall, and should be a cracking show. We're going to try and approach it from a slightly different angle, and have a yeah, look at some interesting parts of these guys, not just the normal, you know, Captain Thunderbolt thing. So, thanks very much, everyone. Stay tuned next week. I'm Ben from Gold Diggers. This has been number 65. We're getting closer to the 100 on the way. So, righto, guys. I'll see you all next week. See you.